So we're now at the Temple of Hercules, back in Amman. This is just a really good viewpoint of the city. It's 5:30. We got here right before they closed the gate. And this was mentioned in the Bible. I can't remember the story, but I believe it was in Hebrews in relations with the church. What's this here?
I think you can walk up and see.
I can't see nothing but a sign.
There's a thing over there that tells what it is. You have to walk around.
Yeah. Maybe on the way back down we'll do that one. So that's the temple. I don't know where his hands are. Where are the hands? Just showed a little bit more here from the grounds. This was an old church, a Byzantine church. You have the Jordan flag. The sun setting right now up on the city. And it's just awesome views every direction you go.
These look like they might have been like stables or something.
I don't know. Can't see that, it's too dark. That's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna take a shortcut.
Without shortcuts.
Is it an airhead?
Looks like it.
Huh,
Does it look like it to
kinda,
you?
a little bit. Tammy just found an airhead. Can you show camera? Just one last view of the city. Quick selfie. We're gonna make our way back down. Without tripping, hopefully.
Yeah, there's big rock right
Yeah.
behind
Alright, so I'm gonna cut it off so I can pay attention to where I'm walking.
بالبلد
Downtown. We're trying to find the I Love Almond sign.
هنا كله لسه
Traffic's crazy and drivers are crazy.
والله وين عدي اليمين ولا الشمال؟ لا عديت اشوفك يا الله حبيبي سلام يلا احمد
And there's still like to offer. This is downtown.
What? Where did I go?
No, what kind of work do you do every day?
Yeah. This work is finished with time?
What do you do for a living? What job do you have? You do this all day?
Yeah.
Drive around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, me in the work.
Okay.
Me language. English, American people. People understand.
No, I know. It's okay.
This
We got
language,
it.
American me. This is from Italy, from Spanish, from France. We don't understand. American people don't.
No.
Yeah, this language, English, half.
Yeah.
For talk Italy, Belgium, English, you understand. American, no. We're just weird. Yeah.
Oh, look at that street. Wow. All hill. Okay, so I think we're out of the crazy. Just a little bit of downtown. Trying to make our way to the call of prayer is coming from this church here. So we just come into the skid shop here at the Blue Mosque. The Blue Mosque Church is where they've been doing the call of prayer, which is what I was trying to video before. We're looking for olive oil here because they do hand-pressed olive oil. I found something for an ornament. I found something for the ornament.
I thought you already got something.
Jerusalem. I didn't have anything from Jordan yet. Finished. Okay, so this is my last night at the hotel in Alman. So I just wanted to do a quick review of our trip for the week. So I flew over on Emirates. As far as Emirates, it was a nice flight. It was, I can't say enough about Emirates if you ever get a chance to fly with them. So from the beginning here, so we moved around a lot from hotel to hotel. Our tour guide, we had a little bit of issues with, a little bit of drama. He was very argumentative. He would not slow down for us. So I politely said, will you please slow down so the rest of us can keep up and listen to the tour. And he became very argumentative. He wasn't getting us water, which was included in the tour. If you ever had that perfect trip planned and it just didn't go the way that you wanted it to, well, this was it for me. As I explained, I was planning on getting baptized due to no Wi-Fi connection, me using WhatsApp. There's not a lot of Wi-Fi here or internet, so it was hard for me to keep in touch with the priest. So between that and a rude tour guide who would not wait on us, he kept trying to pawn us off on the priest. Well, he can take you to the Dead Sea, and he can take you here and over your responsibility. You need to take this, So it became a huge hassle to where management actually called me and asked me if I was happy, and I said no, I was not, but I can't talk, I'll explain later. So they actually met me at the hotel the night that happened, which I think that was night 3. It was the day after we went to Petra, which it kind of started there. So they met me, and she had told me that they had told him twice our situation and what we had planned for the trip, and none of it went the way that we had planned. So they actually fired him on the spot because this was not the first group that he had done that to. So then we ended up with the new tour guide. It was just one day. But it went much better, much smoother. Everybody was much happier after that. So they definitely, the company did the right thing by doing that. As far as for Petra, that was our second day. Actually, first night we got here, we went to Rainbow Street, which I highly recommend. They have different things hanging in this street. We thought they were umbrellas, but it was actually baskets that they had hanging. But it's just a really interesting spot to go see, so I highly recommend going and seeing that. There's call to prayer here. We actually went up to the Blue Mosque tonight, and I'll put that in the vlog as well, where you can hear the call of prayer. It's like certain times of the day due to the sun. And then day 2 was Petra, and every morning we've been up about 5 or 6 a.m. and in late, so we're extremely exhausted. And I'm sure, look, I'm exhausted. So for Petra, one thing I can say, be prepared to walk, be prepared to hike. The famous Instagram spot, you do have to do a lot of climbing, and I would not recommend going by yourself because you just about need help up there. Once you get up, there's a couple guys up there running it, and you get a water. You have to pay $1 to take a picture, but they exchange it for water or soda, whatever you want. So that was nice because you need that after doing that hike. And I promise you, my legs are so sore. There has been so much walking on this trip, and I am so sore, so I can hardly move my legs. I'm hoping that when we go to Dubai, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed. And I'm extremely exhausted right now, just because we've been up early, a lot of walking. So Petra is beautiful. It's a little bit rocky and slick going down the rocks. When you get down there, it takes a little bit going through the Seek, and you get down there. It reminds me a lot of Antelope Canyon if you've been there, because it is a slot canyon. So there's things you see in the rocks, and coming back different ways, you see different views of it. So it's just really interesting to see a lot of history behind it as well. And then once you get to the monastery, it just kind of opens up into the city. So it was really neat to see. A lot of red rock, red dust everywhere, a lot of people selling stuff. The little kids are coming up to you selling stuff. We had one woman wanting to ask if we had makeup, and she would exchange us gifts for makeup. So it's a long walk. It took us, just to get back after we finished the tour, it took us a good 3 hours to get back. In the park, outside the park, at our hotel was right outside of the park. The hotel was nice, it was okay, just for the night, it was fine. I wanted to go up to the monastery, but they wanted $40 to ride a donkey up the hill, and I wasn't paying that. I couldn't talk them down on that, and we didn't have time to walk it because it was close to closing, and you don't want to be in the park after dark because they have no lights. So it's a little kind of scary. So just keep that in mind if you go there. We had the flashlights on our phone to use because it was a little bit, just sun had gone down, it was dark by the time we got back to the gate. So our friend did go up on the donkey, and she said it was absolutely terrifying. She said there was one point where it was so narrow that the donkey almost slid off. She thought she was going to slide off of the hill. And so she said it was a very scary experience. So with that respect, I was glad I didn't go. I wish I would have, but now I'm glad I didn't. So the next day, we went to the Dead Sea, the baptism site, and Mount Nebo. And those were all interesting. The Dead Sea, it was a very different experience, being able to float. Like I said, I heard it was good for eczema, which I have on my hands and feet. So we're going to see if it helps. So far, I haven't noticed that much of a difference. My hands and skin were really soft after, and they're still soft. So I'm hoping that it will help. And ladies, just so you know, the water in the Dead Sea, be prepared for your down below to burn like crazy. We were not expecting that. It is a burning sensation like crazy. We didn't stay there too long. It cost $3 to do the mud bath. So I did the mud bath, and you let it dry for 15 minutes, and then you go back in and you rinse it off. And it's hard to get off your face. They do have showers where you can rinse, and then we just went and got into the pool, went to the shop, things like that while we were waiting. And then we go to Mount Nebo that day as well, which was a very interesting experience. That's like the Jordan Valley and the Jordan River Valley area. Yesterday and today we were in Israel. Crossing the border was actually a pretty easy experience. I had heard horror stories of it taking like 3 and 4 hours to cross, but it took maybe 10 minutes, and then it was like an hour back. So there are fees for the border. Going, it was $10, and then, yeah, for the tax. And you had to pay $7 for the shuttle. If you have bags, it's $1.50 a bag to get back and forth across the border. On the way back, it was about approximately $50, depending on what currency that you're paying in. I paid with Jordanian dollars. I think it was like $48. And I am so mad at myself because I actually left my souvenirs on the bag. Thankfully, the tour company is mailing them to me, and I should have them when I get home at the end of the week. I was so mad at myself for leaving those because it's of importance, because I had the cloth. When you go visit where Jesus was laid, there's incense, and you can rub the scent from where he laid. And I had left that in the bag because I was actually going to frame that when I get home, so that they are going to send it to me. So Jerusalem, there is a ton of people. So the first day we went to Bethlehem and went to the manger, and we had to wait. We were with a guide, so we got in quicker. But there was so much pushing and shoving, you could hardly get down to get a picture. And when I did, I actually got shoved. Whenever I was down there, I did get a picture, which I'll pop that up in the videos whenever I get to edit them after I'm home. There's not been a lot of Wi-Fi here, so keep that in mind too. A few of the hotels have Wi-Fi, and I've been able to get on here and there, but not a lot. So I haven't hardly had internet here. But going back to Jerusalem, everywhere was super busy. The sculptural church, which is where Jesus was crucified and where he was laid, that area, there were long lines, just like with everywhere else. The Wailing Wall, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, is keep in mind that there's a women's side and a men's side. We didn't know, we went to the men's side, kind of got in trouble for it. We also got in trouble at one of the churches because we have to be quiet inside with the group kind of talking. So keep that in mind, because they did get on to us for that, to be respectful. I only went in one place that was in Mazda, the city of Mosaics, to the church there that we had to cover ourselves. Everywhere else I have not had to cover myself. One thing about Jordan that I have noticed, it's a very dirty city. There's trash everywhere, and there's flies are horrible. They're everywhere. Actually, at the border today, we saw a lady. She was homeless with her little boy, sitting on the ground eating, and their food was just covered in flies. It was the worst thing to see. And I actually did take a picture of it, and it's one of the best pictures I've taken. So I may post it. I'm not sure how I feel about posting it, just because of controversy with it. But it is a very good picture, and it's just what you see here. They don't take care of their animals. There's a lot of dogs and cats around. We had this one little dog following us in Petra. We had to fed it. She was pregnant, so she followed us up to the gate, or to the seat rather. And she went so far up, and it's like she knew where she had to go. She was protecting us. At first we thought she was just following us, and then we realized that she was protecting us to get up, and then she knew where she had to go, turn back and go. But there was a bunch of guys were being rowdy and stuff. Boy, she turned around and just went running after them and growling, and ran back up to protect us. So it was kind of a cute thing to see. At Petra, I also did the camel ride. I forgot to mention it was $5, but definitely worth it. Getting down on the camel was definitely weirder than getting up on it, because you're just so far up. When you get on, they tell you to kind of lean back. So you do have expenses there. It seems like you had a lot of expenses. They wanted you to pay for things here and there, or no, it wasn't kind of what they said, like with the fees crossing the border, things like that. So that's why I'm going to tell you up front how much the fees were, so that you know. But I mean, overall, it was a great experience. It was a great experience in Jerusalem to see the birthplace of Jesus and where he died. I had to get a little emotional today with the experience. I did break out into tears. I am Christian, so that was an amazing experience for me to be able to be there. So I was so disappointed myself for leaving that in the bag on the bus. So I am actually sitting in the lobby here at our hotel. We are at the Union Hotel in Almond. I have liked this hotel. My roommate, not so much. I'm not sure why. But their food here has been really good, both breakfast and dinner. There's this fruit. It's called Java. It's, I believe it's a plum. And they have juice, and it's really good. So if you're ever here looking for that, I highly recommend that drink. I tried some of the dates today at Mount Temptation, which is where Jesus was with the devil for 40 days and 40 nights. And they're very cinnamony, very sweet, so those were very good. So we did that as well on the way home before we got to the border. So everything's fairly close together. We went to Temple of Hercules this evening, so for all the misunderstandings with the tour guide and all of that, the company compensated us and got us a driver and took us to the Temple of Hercules, where his hands, I think there's the knuckle there, and looking at it online, I definitely thought it would be bigger than it is in life. They're actually very small compared to what you think it would be, but it was a neat thing to see. We tried to find the I Love Almond sign, but our driver didn't speak in English. He wasn't understanding what we were asking for, but he did take us to the Blue Moss Church, which is where they do the call of prayer, and it was going on while we were there as well. It's just very interesting to hear. First night we heard it at 5 a.m. in the morning. The night before it was like around 7 or 8. Tonight it was about 6 probably. So it's different times depending on the sunset. It's just really interesting to hear and see all of that, because it just goes throughout the whole city. It's part of the Holy Land. I think that pretty much sums up most of our trip. Oh, one thing also, the bathrooms here. It is hard to find toilet paper. I did want to mention that, so you might want to bring toilet paper. Lots of places I went into, they didn't have it. There's one place I went in and I had to like cover myself and go back up and then ask them for toilet paper. So it's just a matter of trying to get toilet paper. They don't keep it a lot. So it is kind of hard to keep yourself clean and comfortable. So just keep that in mind. You might want to pack at least wet wipes or toilet paper. Probably wet wipes is what I would recommend for that. So that is pretty much all the tips I have on this trip. But I highly recommend Trip 500. They have been great to work with. They took care of us even when we had a not so good tour guide. But the company, actually, the girl I had been talking to since January, putting the trip together, her name is Batal, and she came and met me and made sure that we were happy and made everything right. So it was nice to put a name to a face with somebody you've been talking to since January. So yeah, after all of that happened, they did take great care of us. She told me, she's like, I wish I would have known because I wouldn't have made it right. She's like, I swear I told him twice, and she just felt so bad for us. But I truly believe that there's a reason for everything. So they did say they had found bacteria in the water. So I mean, I think we're thankful that we didn't, just because of all of that, even though it was really disappointing. There's obviously a reason it didn't happen. So I just wanted to touch base, give you some tips, let you know how this trip went. And we leave at 8 a.m. for the airport tomorrow, and we head to Dubai. So we will be a week in Dubai, and I'll do another review on Dubai. All right, thank you guys, and thank you for watching. I'll show you the hotel here in a minute.